Hello guys, welcome back to the Overline Football Podcast. This is podcast number 6, I believe. This podcast today is going to be which teams will finish in the top 4 in the Premier League. Before we get into this, we recently hit a big landmark on our channel. It was 100 subscribers. We appreciate that massively. It took us 3 months, which is great.
It's not bad going.
It's quite good, yeah. Thank you all for your support, and obviously if you're listening to on Spotify, please go and check out our YouTube channel.
We're always trying to make it better.
Yes.
Every video, we're learning new stuff, and so it's only going to get better, hopefully. And there's going to be much more variety of content as restrictions allow more and more things to happen.
Pretty much. Our latest video, our Man City Dortmund review from the first league. If you want to go and check it out, please do. That got over 100 views, so we appreciate that massively. We're hopefully going to try and do more content similar to that because you guys liked it so much, so that's the aim. Let's get into it. Let's go straight in. First team, we're going to first of all say, by the way, that Man City and Man United are going to finish the top 4, so they're not in this conversation. So, first team we're going to bring up on is Chelsea. Currently, only lost 1 game in the league that I know of when Tuchel was in charge, and that was just that manic 5-2 loss to West Brom. No idea where that's coming from. Do they look to be the team in form in this bracket to you?
Probably. It's definitely one of the most in form. That 5-2 loss was just a bit of a consequence of a big Champions League quarter final coming up, which obviously they won. So you've got to say they've managed it quite well. But unless they win the Champions League, which obviously they've still got a very good chance of doing, they play Liverpool or Real Madrid in the semi-final, and then one of PSG, City or Dortmund in the finals. They've got a quite a good chance. They've got to finish in the top 4, so they can't be prioritising the Champions League as much. They've got to keep the consistency up in the league because there's other teams in the league at the moment fighting for the top 4 that have got nothing to play for but the league. Yeah. So they're going to be more focused on the league, and Chelsea don't want to risk slipping out of it. Chelsea have been a bit of a victim of a very poor start to the season. They have, yes. Under Lampard. So they played a bit of catch up. They've caught up, but they're now in amongst that sort of points total. You know, they're not. Like United have got a significant lead. They've got like a 7 to 10. I think they've got 10 point lead on 5th. Yeah. So they need to sort of put it beyond any sort of doubt and win the games that are very winnable, and then the heads-to-heads. You know, there's going to be really interesting games against these because I think a few of them still have head-to-heads remaining.
I believe so as well. I mean, I know towards the end of the season, definitely Leicester play Man United, which obviously we'll talk about anyway. But I think West Ham play a couple of teams in the top. One of these we're going to talk about in the video anyway. So obviously Chelsea bought a lot of players in the summer, and like we said, they had such a slow season at the start under Lampard. I remember seeing something recently on Twitter that when Chelsea won the Champions League, they had a very poor start to the season. They sacked the manager, then got a young manager in, then won the Champions League, and then they beat a Spanish team in the semi-final, and then went on to win the final. And that is exactly a copy of what happened this season. They brought in a young manager in Tuchel in the middle of the season. They might play Real Madrid in the semi-final, Spanish team. Yeah, they might go into Champions League. So that's what all Chelsea fans are thinking right now. Timo Werner, like I said about transfers, Timo Werner not performed to the way we think he would in the Premier League. 100%. He made it like a clown sometimes. I mean, we've seen in videos of his teammates clapping him when he scores a goal in training to try and get his confidence up. That's how badly he's been performing. Anything else you want to add on transfer wise for Chelsea this season? I mean, Havertz has now recently got some form as well. I forgot to say that he's got some form finally as well. But some of the players they bought in Chelsea have not been firing on all cylinders. We'll say that.
Yeah, they've it's all about consistency now in the running, winning the games that they should win, and then taking significant points off the head-to-head because they've done really well to catch up. Considering I think most people wrote them off for top 4, and I assume that's where Tuchel was sort of brought in. He told them we can get top 4 obviously, and then just see where the sort of Champions League takes them. Obviously a favourable draw has meant that they're in with a sort of fighting chance, and I think there was a bit of new manager bounce with the Tuchel thing. I don't think the West Brom thing is massively just an off game. I think there was obviously a bit of new manager bounce. Like, managers are not invincible. You know what I mean? Like Pep Guardiola won 20 in a row, but then he's still lost 2 games after. Like, teams lose games. West Brom are obviously fighting for their lives, and Chelsea have had an important Champions League quarter final, so there was a bit of that. But I'm I know obviously I don't want to spoil predictions, but I'm pretty confident that Chelsea will finish in the top 4.
I don't disagree with you. I think Chelsea will finish top 4 as well. I think Tuchel's got him playing football, which is more suited to Chelsea rather than what Lampard was playing. Lampard was playing football, which was didn't create many chances in the game. We'll say that on Tuchel's, the way Tuchel's playing football, he's very counter-attacking, sets up shop at the back, and then does everything on the counter, which is exciting to see, especially when you're playing at home if you're a Chelsea fan as well. They lost 1-0 to Porto the day we were on the Tuesday night. We were recording this on the Wednesday. But they are still through. They are going to the semi-finals, like you said already.
And honestly, they've got a good chance, because you'd back them to have a really, really good chance against either Madrid or Liverpool over 2 legs.
Yeah, you would.
And then the final, no matter who they play, is a 1-game shootout. So it's just one game, you turn up on the day, you win. The final's not like over the 2 legs. Very rarely do. I mean, it's probably bad tact to bring this up with the Bayern and PSG game the other day, but very rarely do the best team over the 2 legs go out. The team who manages the 2 legs well enough goes through.
Well, and that funny thing is, in that Bayern game, the first leg, PSG was shocked. Bayern were the best team that lost, and yesterday PSG I thought were the best team, and then they lost.
So I saw something the other day that Bayern Munich was the only team to win a game but draw the tie,
right?
But go out. But technically lose draw like they did aggregate and then lose a tie. It's ridiculous, that, isn't it? The away goal rules is another discussion for another day. But yeah, going back to Chelsea in one leg shootout against either PSG, Borussia Dortmund or Manchester City, anything can happen. So they'll be very, very excited for that, and I would be as well.
We'll talk about. We mentioned them already. We'll talk about next team. Might be in the fighting for the top 4. It is Liverpool. Found some form again now with their injuries. So, we'll say some of the injuries now. Players coming back. We'll say, for example, Diego Jota. What a season he's suddenly. I think
he was one that's gone under the radar. The sort of injury that he had.
Yeah.
I remember someone saying to me that he got injured when the 6th game in the
was it Keith by any chance?
The Champions. I don't know. I can't remember who it was. It was some sort of Liverpool journalist. said to me that he got injured in the last group game.
Right.
Where it was like a dead rubber, and Jota played and got this really horrible knee injury that's kept him out for a few months. And Jota obviously was, since he came in, because he came in late in the transfer window.
You did, yeah.
He was the one who kind of spat after the little dip in form, like, from Villa and stuff like that. He was the one who kind of spat them back into life, and even without Van Dijk, they looked like they were really going to seriously mount a sort of title defence. Since he got injured, I think that's when they fell off a cliff. I know obviously much has been made of the sort of defensive reinforcements not being as good, and the defenders being injured. But I think Jota was a massive miss for Liverpool, and you've seen since he's come back how prolific he has been for him. And did you honestly expect him to be as prolific as he did?
No, I did. I mean, I thought it was an interesting sign. Well, it's a smart sign. He's got Premier League experience, obviously.
Cheap as well, because he wanted to leave.
Yeah, well, it was that. There's also the fact that obviously Liverpool have got so many players in that position as well. Like Shaqiri and Origi don't really get game time, and to bring him in, I thought it was a bit of a dubious one. But then when he came into Liverpool towards the start of the season when he was playing, nicking 1-0 wins, and Jota was scoring those goals. Yeah. So
he was coming off the bench as well, wanting making an impact.
Yeah,
and then obviously now he's fought his way into the team. And I know, obviously, a lot of people have said for Firmino, but obviously Mane, Salah, they've all been rotated, and that now, from a point when it used to be that front three every game, it's not that anymore. So I'd expect Liverpool to go with a front 4 tonight, as in Firmino dropping deep, Jota tonight, as in mentioning the Real Madrid game. Obviously, if this goes out afterwards and they've had a stinker, it's gonna look. But I think they look the best when all 4 of them on the pitch, and they're just playing with. Why not? What have they got to lose now? Especially in this Champions League second leg, they've just got to play freely, know how they play, and then 4, if they link up right on the day, it's just if they link up right on the day, really.
Well, I've mentioned this in this documentary because based off what we noticed, they haven't really had a consistent team playing every single week in, week out. They always have free change every game because of injuries to Liverpool now. Yeah, a lot of the players, bar Van Dijk and say Gomez, are now kind of back into the squad, so they're constantly, there's only one change per game, so Klopp's getting the same squad that's more consistent, and we're starting to see that work at Liverpool now. Whether you like them or not, they are finding a bit of form now. They managed to win the first home game of the year. Well done.
Yeah, they're not looking at their exquisite best, but they're sort of grinding out results at this moment in time. Beating Villa at home is not as easy as it seems, especially this year. You know what I mean? So it's especially with the sort of burden they had over of them with the 7-2.
Oh God, I know.
They just kind of had a bit of a demoralising night out in Madrid. It was an important result for them, and now they've got a very important run in where they're playing a lot of the sort of big six sides.
It felt weird as well to see Liverpool play at 3 o'clock on a Saturday. I haven't seen that in a while. Normally play on a Sunday. Like,
it's weird with the times where
every single game is on TV, isn't it? So it's like 2 on a Friday.
It's gonna be weird to go back to not.
I know.
Yeah, when we all go back, but hopefully.
Yeah. Final point we're going to talk about Liverpool is about England as well. So Trent and Alexander-Arnold obviously missed out in the latest England squad that was there. Do you think at the moment he deserves to be in the England squad, or?
I just found the talk about it really boring. It was blown so much out of proportion. The lad didn't deserve to be in the last squad because 2 right backs were performing better than him.
Yeah.
That is as simple as that. Is Trent Alexander-Arnold never going to play for England again? He's obviously going to play again.
Yeah.
Is Trent Alexander-Arnold England's best right back? Probably, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But form wise, it wouldn't be fair for Gareth Southgate to do what he's done with other players and drop him for bad form and then not drop Trent when he's performing badly. Alright, he's not had a disastrous season, but just for Trent's standards, he's not been good enough. And 2 right backs were performing better than him. Reece James was performing better than him. Kyle Walker was performing better than him. The only one I could question is Trippier because of his lack of football.
Right.
But even so, it was more of a... And will that not just benefit Trent with England? It'll just... I mean, look what his performances since then. It's been fantastic. Firing up.
Well, bar the Real Madrid game.
Yeah,
which wasn't
ideal. But there is understandable questions about his defending.
Yeah.
But there's the risk you take with a modern day fullback. He's brilliant at what he does. He's England's best right back by a mile for me, and he would start in England's side if he was me. But I understand completely why Gareth left him out, purely for the fact that he just couldn't go with the same policy that he's been going with the whole time.
The boost as well, like you said.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Trent's mint, but did he deserve to be dropped on this occasion? I think he did.
Yeah. Next team we're going to talk about now is the team currently in 4th in the Premier League, and I think I'll say this. West Ham. I mean, they've been revitalised since January, bloody hell. I mean, Jesse Lingard's turned into Pele. He's everything you want in a player now. Jesse Lingard's linked with a lot of teams in the Premier League now. It's crazy. David Moyes all of a sudden become what he's supposed to be at Man United. What do you overly think so far, West Ham season?
I'd probably disagree with the Moyes at Man United. It's a completely different job. Moyes is we said this on a previous podcast. I think Moyes is perfect for these sort of sides. He's literally Everton Mark II in it. Let's be honest. Yeah. He's built a very, very good side that just isn't going away. Mm-hmm. He's one of them sides, obviously on a different, far lesser scale to Leicester, because Leicester was winning the title. But it's just, I feel like with West Ham, people have just been like, well, they'll fade away in a bit. They'll fade away. They'll have a few bad results, but they're not. They just keep winning. I watched the Leicester West Ham game the other day, and I thought, well, this will be a big test for West Ham. Mm-hmm. They've come off the back of a few really, really good results, and they bottled that 3-0 lead against Arsenal not long before the international break. So it tested their kind of confidence wise, and especially their sort of bottle, especially when Leicester brought it back to 3-2 with 5 minutes to go. I was thinking, wow, what a finish that was going to be. But I've just been massively impressed with not just Lingard. Lingard obviously since January has been brilliant for him, but Jared Bowen I think's been very, very underrated for him since he's come into the side. Souček, obviously, we've talked a lot about Souček. We included him in our sort of nominees for the team of the season. Mm-hmm. He's built a solid base, and he's sort of built out from there. And the only issues with West Ham, and Moyes pointed it out, is that they must just go full throttle for the first 45 to 60 minutes of games, and they tire out really quickly. Mm-hmm. And experienced sides will realise that and sort of reserve their energy for the last 30 minutes, because Leicester, who were not in the game at all, West Ham completely and utterly battered him, and it could have been 4 with inches offside for the 4th. Leicester nearly nicked a point out of that game, and it would have been a very undeserved point, but that last 20 minutes West Ham were back to sort of very feeble, weak West Ham. That's the only concern I'd have of West Ham at the moment. The problem West Ham have got now is that they've got to consistently win, because it's not like they've created a massive gap. They've now got to consistently win until the end of the season, because there is the teams below them, Liverpool and Chelsea, will win their games, I'd imagine, if they want to get the top 4. But no matter what happens now, they're not going to finish below 7th out there. So they look like they'll get Europe.
They will get Europe. I think I agree with absolutely everything you've said. I mean, even Moyes said himself, the lads tire out too much. You're looking at that squad. I mean, there's rarely, I think, anyone in that squad who's played a lot of Premier League games before, bar obviously Craig Dawson and those situations in the goalkeepers.
Yeah.
But the more forwards, like Mikel Antonio's now injured, obviously, again. Ben Ram's not getting in the squad at the moment because obviously Jared Bowen just isn't going to play out this game.
I noticed this when City played him, the way the attack is brilliant because they have 4 attackers on the pitch and they just move with each other. The link up play between Bowen, Antonio, Lingard, Ben Rama when he plays, Fornals as well as another one who's had a good season for him. The way they sort of link up is they're all in. You've noticed when they've scored goals that it's not always just a central striker in the ready for the tap-ins. I mean, Lingard was the one who was there for the tap-in the other day. So they're so good at interchanging, and they've got a solid base of Souček and then one other. Obviously, the other day it was Mark Noble. So they've got that, and then they've seemed to have found a nice little solid centre half partnership.
Yeah, I mean, if I look at a lot of these teams in this series, there's always one standout player, and West Ham haven't really had that until Jesse Lingard came.
Yeah,
and I just think that one standout player who's making the club go further higher in the leagues. I
really hope he stays. Do you think he'll stay?
I don't think he'll stay at West Ham. No, I reckon he'll go back to Man United.
That'd be very unfair. I just feel like at the moment his position is Bruno Fernandes's position, and is Ole Gunnar Solskjaer going to drop him for Bruno? No, he might play him in the odd game, but it's like he's that deserving of Glinden's quality, and he's playing week in week out. I hope that West Ham can do a deal
Make
for
a
him.
deal, yeah.
Not even just West Ham, maybe another side, but it's got to be a side that's guaranteeing him football. But maybe Moyes' system fits him the best. Maybe that'll be something that comes into negotiations.
And the next club is Spurs, the inconsistent Spurs.
Spursy.
Jose Mourinho is just making the club fall asleep every time you watch him play. I mean, I don't understand how they can go on from beating Man United 6-1, look absolutely unbelievable on the ball, to watching them play so poorly and so negatively when they've got players like Harry Kane, who's the top of the goals, top of the assists in the league already.
Yeah.
At this point, or at this season.
I know, because they've got shit squad depth.
There we go then.
It's as simple as that.
Mm-hmm.
When the players were fresh at the start of the season, they looked brilliant.
They did.
And they had an amazing run at the start of the season. But when the winter time came and they were playing every 3 days, they just can't hack it because they've not squad depth, because every team has a squad.
Yes.
But squad depth, the definition of squad depth is quality in depth, and they just don't have quality past the first 11. And you can even argue the first 11, apart from you have your 2 world class players in Kane and Son. You have a few decent players like Reguilon and Ndombele. Højbjerg's been okay.
Lloris.
Lloris, if you want to count him as, I don't know what to think of Lloris, honestly, with his weak wrists. But I just don't think they have any sort of strength in depth bar them players. So are they capable of seriously mounting not even a title challenge but a top 4 push with them players? The top 4 push maybe, because they will win you the odd game. Well, the odd game, that's unfair on Kane and Son, to be honest. But getting a solid run of positive results,
yes,
it's just not going to happen, especially if you're in other competitions as well, because they've obviously had the Europa League, the Carabao Cup, where they went all the way there in the final, and the FA Cup. They got 2. I can't remember who they got knocked out by in the FA Cup. But so they've had 4 competitions, is what I'm trying to say.
But we've said on every single video and podcast we say about Spurs, they have 2 best players, and that's all they have. Like you said, the squad depth is non-existent.
Do you know what I'd say as well? Very unusual for Levy. His recruitment has been really poor. Like, Mourinho was such a poor appointment at a time when Poch left. They needed someone young and fresh and like a Nagelsmann to come in and maybe they could have attracted someone like Nagelsmann. I don't know, but just Mourinho was just such a gamble that he's passion, and it was just so evident in his past jobs that he was just not at it anymore. You know what I mean? There's no disrespect to what Mourinho's achieved in football, but
as I'll tell you, just put his fingers up in the air and tell me how many Premier Leagues he's won. That's all he'll do.
And he's trying, of course he's trying, but when Mourinho's had this sort of toxic environments in the past where he's been successful, it's been a toxic environment full of winners,
right,
who not like are greedy. They want to win titles. Whereas now he's taken over a sort of feeble Spurs team. I mean, that documentary when he said you need to be more cunts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're not that type of team. He's come into a side that is not like the Mourinho teams of past, and he's trying to make it like that, and they're just not that sort of team.
Mm-hmm.
They need a player. They need a manager who can take some of the sort of maybe young talents coming through, like Rodon, who looks pretty decent centre half.
Starting as well for Spurs.
There's been a few that have come through the academy that have done quite. That Oliver Skip's playing really well, isn't he?
Norwich,
on
yes,
loan.
he is, yeah.
So they need someone to completely refresh for me for Spurs, and that is not even including if Harry Kane leaves or not.
I think the reason why Levy got Mourinho in because he wanted stability at a time where they thought they were doing better than what they're doing, so they thought they'd get a serial winner in, which because I've never really seen that before. Obviously,
do you think Mourinho's stability?
I'm saying more stability wise, as in
like an experienced manager,
that kind of thing. And I'm saying he's someone who knows how to win. Because obviously, I think they got to the finish line quite a few times, like in the titles when Leicester won it, and obviously in the Champions League against Liverpool. Yeah. I think they wanted someone who's actually done it and got to that stage now. Because I think they might have just got sick of Pochettino how that whole thing occurred. They just want someone in straight away.
So Poch went midway through last season.
Yeah, and then Mourinho came in like a couple of days after. I think it was.
So was there enough signs last season that Tottenham could have? What did Mourinho do with the last couple of months that made it so convincing that he? You know what I mean? Like, why couldn't you come in as a caretaker then? I just think it was.
We haven't got the answers.
No, I know we've not got the answers, but it is. I just think it's so uncharacteristic of Levy that he's just. I don't know. I just think he got this one massively wrong with Mourinho, and obviously it's showing now with the results. And if they would have beat United at the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not convinced by him at all. I'm just not. No. There's been some like we just spoke about West Ham. West Ham convinced me on the weekend that they're serious contenders.
Yes.
I know it's took me a while because obviously they've done really well all season, but I always thought, like I said about Leicester, they'd fade away, but they've not. But Tottenham have never. There's been results like they beat City earlier in the season, but that was when they were in the title race. You know, people were quoting them to win the title easily and stuff like that. It's just nonsense. And I mean, look at that now. I mean, they're going to finish like 35, 40 plus points behind first, probably. But yeah, Spurs for me, in terms of the top four, at the moment in time, is looking pretty bleak. And that is their last hope of getting Champions League football, because obviously the Carabao Cup final, even though it's a one-off game, doesn't get them Champions League.
No, I saw someone also, thank you for whoever commented, Jack, his name is on YouTube. If Spurs do win the Carabao Cup, they get entered into that brand new Conference League. So Great. They will get European football. It's one of those new things, basically. So.
Yeah, but they'd get Europa League anyway, wouldn't they? But that's not what they want.
No, if they're winning the Carabao Cup, you get that.
No, I mean, in the table, they're going to finish an Europa League spot, you'd imagine. So, well, we'll go on next team now, which is Everton. Obviously, had a great start to the season. Everyone thought they were going to be the dark horses to possibly win the league. Yes, we love that, carried away with Everton at the start of the season.
James Rodriguez looks to be the dog's bollocks at the start of the season. Everyone thought how Everton signed him, this is stupid, and then he faded away, James Rodriguez. Ancelotti, I don't disrespect Ancelotti in the slightest, but I don't understand why he's playing 5 at the back with 2 CDMs constantly in an Everton side which has got so good attacking players up the pitch that decides to play
probably
so
just doesn't trust his keeper, because I know I don't for the national team. Ancelotti's such a perfect appointment for Everton, but I just think it's going to take a lot more time than expected.
I think everyone got a little bit of semi at the start of the season, didn't they, about Everton, basically.
He's got. When was he appointed officially?
Last season, I think. I don't think it was this season, was it?
But I was just thinking what month. He's got to get his own team. He's got to bring his own players in now permanently, and he's got to trust his players. And I think that's what you're saying about the 5 and the 2 DMs. Yeah. I think he just doesn't trust his defence enough, maybe. And that's the only thing I'd sort of pose on that.
But that's to see Everton's fans' frustrations when you see on social media. They just say, "Why are we playing 5 at the back and 2 CDMs all the time?" When they have a lot of quality up higher in the pitch, like the Calvert-Lewin, for example.
I've been disappointed in a few games, especially in like cup comps, because I remember when City played Everton in the quarterfinals of the FA Cup. It was just like, even when they went 1 down with 10 minutes to go, there was no means to attack. I don't think Everton got into City's box for the majority of the game. It was just so negative, and you go into that game, and if you're expecting to get beat, why not just go for it? You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure the Everton fans would appreciate a lot more. I do think top four is a bit too much of an ask for right now with the quality of
the teams
above, and the teams Everton have got to face, because I think Ancelotti's summed it up perfectly in some games. It's like, it's not the games against City and Liverpool and that will define sort of Everton's season. It's the games against the lower half of the opposition where they tend to slip up.
It's like the Brighton game, obviously yesterday, 0-0 with them, Brighton fighting out the bottom of the table.
But Seamus Coleman after the game said it was not that game, it's the Crystal Palace game before where they lost. That's Brighton, and he said they created some good chances. He said, I could take a point against Brighton, but when you've just lost to Crystal Palace, it takes on an added significance. So it's just about beating these smaller teams for Everton, because, alright, I mean, winning Anfield is such a massive thing for them, but that is such an Everton thing that they do that, and then they go and...
Well, this is what I was saying about the Ancelotti 5 at the back. He's playing 5 at the back in 2 stadiums, like at Crystal Palace and Brighton. He's not going for it in those games where, in theory, you think he should be going for it. I know at the start of the season, I can't remember for life if he was playing 5 at the back at the start of the season, or he's now just changed to 5 at the back like in the recent months because the form's been decreasing. I'm not sure, but for me, I don't think Everton make the top 4. Obviously, they're included because they still probably can, Everton, but I think they're probably the biggest long shot out of this list. Personally.
I think he rotates between the two in terms of the 5 and 4 back, but yeah, completely agree. They're probably going to finish the lowest, I'd say. But you never know with this league. They could go on a massive run, but I doubt it.
I think 8 teams have led the Premier League so far this season, and Everton were one of those, and everyone thought they were.
Yeah, they won like the first 6 or 7 in a row, I'm pretty sure, didn't they? And then it came to that Merseyside derby that they should have lost, but they drew.
Anyway, the last team we're going to talk about is the team currently in 3rd, it is Leicester City. Possibly the most outformed team on this list, bar Spurs.
Maybe.
Injuries have not helped in the slightest. I mean, the start of the season, like I said, they looked to be constant top 3 harassing Man City, Man United at the top all the time. But the injuries have wrecked the squad completely. Also doesn't help that Jamie Vardy's suddenly stopped performing all of a sudden as well. Yeah,
he's been on a bit of a goal drought. And
what's your thoughts currently for Leicester now?
I hate Leicester because they're just...
Wow, okay.
They're a bit...
Bold.
I'm a bit of a yo-yo in terms of my opinion of Leicester.
Right.
Because they'll pull off a result and you think, they're alright, they'll be in top 4, and then they'll have a few results and you think, they're going to fall out of it again. And the next few games, Leicester have got a pivotal, because the last 3 they've got in the Premier League, last 3 fixtures, Tottenham, Chelsea, Manchester United. Yeah. So they've got 3 games that you think they're not going to pick many points off.
No.
So they're going to have to create a significant lead.
Yeah.
And especially because Chelsea, that would be an interesting game, that the Chelsea one, because it could be one deciding what spot.
Well, it's 2 counter-attacking teams as well. I mean, Leicester, obviously, as I said, the injuries as well. Justin getting injured, Fofana being injured for
I do also think it's unfair for Leicester to still rely on Jamie Vardy as much. I mean, Kelechi Iheanacho at the moment is an absolute bagsman.
But that you could say that because he's scoring lots, because Jamie Vardy's not been performing as well.
Rodgers said at the start of the season he's trying to encourage his players to give less of an onus on Vardy. I know Vardy's your number 9, but he's kind of encouraged Maddison, Barnes, Perez, the rest of them to sort of chip in with goals. And I think they have to a degree, but again, injuries at a key point in the season. Harvey Barnes was flying.
James Justin flying at full back as well, doing great. Fofana at centre half.
And even Maddison's little 6-week injury that he had with his hip stopped him in his tracks completely. And I mean, that the other week, you heard about that the other week, the house party. That is, at this point of the season, like, it's just stupidity. Like, what is the point?
I mean, it's the same thing all season. I think everyone just got sick of everything, haven't they? And Leicester, I think they've taken a foot off the gas a little bit, I'll say that, because they think they fought their home and dry in the top 4, and then suddenly realise the likes of Chelsea and
as I say, they pick up a few decent results and you think, they should be comfortable, and then they lose a few, and especially against teams in and around, and so the West Ham was a proper 6-pointer.
Yeah, it was.
And now they're like 2 points behind, or something. They're very close. They're like 1 result away from West Ham in 4th. And you just said before, Liverpool are starting to pick up for form. Chelsea have sort of caught up really well. You can really see a few of them catching it.
It's a big chance. So now
I think it's between them 4.
So now, Harry, we're going to tell you what is your prediction for the top 4. So obviously we're going to go Man City, Man United, top 2.
Yeah.
Who's going to be your third and fourth?
I think it's between them four. So I think it's between Chelsea, Liverpool, West Ham, and Leicester. I'm going to say Chelsea get third.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm going to go Liverpool sneak fourth. Then Leicester fifth. West Ham sixth.
I'm going to go Chelsea third as well, but I'm going to go Leicester fourth. I think Leicester will just about hang on.
Just about hang on. I
think
could see that.
The players they have at their disposal, Leicester, they can perform at any time.
Who did you go third?
Chelsea third.
And Leicester fourth. And Liverpool missed out.
Liverpool missed out. I reckon Liverpool finished sixth. I reckon West Ham fourth. Not fourth, fifth. Sorry, my bad. West Ham finished. I reckon West Ham just missed out. And I think West Ham are carrying this consistently all the time. But like you said in those games, where Moyes even said that they drop off late points in the game, which is where
I'm just looking at Liverpool's fixtures. Really, oh my God, United really. Obviously, Leeds away is going to be a tough one, but United really the only team. They've got Newcastle, Southampton, West Brom, Burnley, and Palace. And I mean, it is Liverpool we're talking about the last couple of weeks. You know what I mean? But
Liverpool were talking about lost all games at the start of the season, haven't they?
And so, look, like I just said, if they lose tonight or go out tonight, it's going to be a massive added significance on these last seven.
Yeah.
And I could see Liverpool going and winning 6 out of 7 and easy, maybe even third, honestly. But this is Liverpool we're talking about. They only just break the little 6 in a row at home where they've lost on the bounce, and a few of them were to sort of bottom half opposition.
And this is why I was saying, like, the games they've got left, they might seem
Premier League.
They might seem winnable, but like during the start of the season in Germany, they lost to Burnley, lost to Brighton at home.
Yeah,
those games you think they might win, like last season, they're not 100% winning now. So that's why I've gone for them outside the top 4. Anyway, that's enough for us now. It's time for me and Harry to go. Thank you very much for 100 subs on YouTube. Massive. Thank you very much. Obviously, we're going to try and do content still. Once a video every week. And obviously, we're going to, fingers crossed,
2 this week because we got a Dortmund City review.
About, yeah, so we got that review coming up as well.
Probably, well, it depends. It depends when it's out, but it might already be out. The Dortmund City review.
It might be on after. But yeah, thank you very much for watching, or even if you make it this far, thank you for watching this far. We appreciate that. Let us know your predictions as well, guys. Who you think is going to sneak into top 4? Do you reckon someone on this list who isn't there might sneak in chance to Europe? God knows. I mean, this.
God knows this league.
Like I said in the video, 8 different teams have been top of the league this season, so anything can happen. Thank you, Harry, for joining me, and we'll see you in the next one. See you later, guys.